if you go down here, this is your sample CSWA exam. So if you click here, you go through, and you should do this because it goes through the steps and shows you what the exam is going to look like. So this is the exam you're going to take. Select your language. Most of you will choose English, but if you're more familiar reading a different language, choose that. And I always laugh about this because you have to click it, like there's 4 things you have to click that each say start the exam. So you say, I'm going to start the exam. It says you're about to start the exam. And you say yes. And then it's downloading the questions and everything. And now it tells you you have to accept the user agreement. I say, I agree. And then it tells you that you're about to start the exam. All right, so a bunch of little hoops you're jumping through. Then you start the exam. Okay, so this is the type of window that you'll have, right? You can resize it a little bit. Same thing over here. You've done the in the Solid Professor. You have the box here, but sometimes it's scrollable, so you need to make sure that you go up and down to it. You can now. This exam. There's a timer here, so you're seeing the timer is counting down from 90 minutes. The real exam is twice this long, so it's an hour and it's 3 hours, not an hour and a half. Under the show summary, it shows you all the questions that you're going to take and the point values. So you go ahead. So these drawing things are always 5 points, and then you'll have the different. Again, it varies by the exam. It varies for what type of the parts that they're giving you, but you know, it's usually good to take a quick look at this, and maybe you'd want to jump to, you know, the 30-point question so you have more time to get it done. Normally, I don't worry about it. If you're ready for the exam, you usually have 3 hours is plenty of time for taking the exam. Should be. Okay, so then you go ahead and anybody know what this is, by the way?
Crop.
It's a cropped view. Indeed, it is. So
it's a what?
I'm going to go through some of that right now. Okay, so this is a broken out section.
Oh.
But again, you're going to cover all this in Silent Professor this week. That's what this week is all about. So, and then you get into the parts here. Okay, so build this part in SolidWorks, obviously. Use the millimeter gram second unit system. Decimal places are 2, so you see all the answers here have 2 decimal places. Part origin, it's arbitrary. They're not going to ask you about the location of the center of mass. That's all that means. All holes are through unless otherwise mentioned. They give you the material. And again, I don't really see why they give you the density other than for you to double check that you've chosen the correct material. Right? But just remember that it's not like you're supposed to do anything with the density, but you can just double check. And then it says, hint, if you don't find an option within 1% of your answer, please recheck your solid model. That's kind of I mean, your answer should be dead on. Right? If you're not dead on, then you're wrong, and you really should try to fix it because the next problems are going to be based upon this one. So now you can do this. And you can click here and click here. If you make the window, so the advantage of if you have a double screen that you can work with, the advantage is that you can have this open on a double screen so that you can, you know, kind of see the part. You can zoom in, and I think once you zoom in, you can pan back and forth, and then you can just fix it. All right, so you see that there's an A here and a B here, and the C here. And again, this is done in the CSWA, or the practice stuff you've done, but every once in a while, it'll point out that that it's expecting you to put in specific relations. So in this case, they're telling you that this straight line here should be tangent to this curve, and then they're implying that, I don't know what they're implying here, because they don't need 2 tangent arrows here. I don't know why they put it in. Oh, maybe there is. So maybe this circle, I forget, I haven't drawn this part in a while. So this one, maybe there's a secondary curve here that has a different radius. I'm not sure. You can build the part and take a look. So then you would answer this question. I don't know what the answer is, so I'll just randomly choose something. I'll go to the next question. So the next question, all it's asking you to do here is change these variables. So you can go back to, you see that 81, 57, 43, and now you're 84, 59, 45. So you have to go ahead and put in your answer here. Again, it should be 2 decimal places. And now you go to the next question, and it's now doing some modifications. It's doing modifications and modifying your letters here. So this one just typically gives you the different views. And now it's kind of showing you what it's done. It's making some cutouts and giving you your various views. And this is a section view. I'm going to talk about that today. So you go ahead and enter your value here and so on. And then there's a third thing you need to do here. I actually have this, I think I have a video for this part that I built. I can show it to you, but I think I also have the material on Blackboard. So we'll go through that in a second. And then you go to the next question. So this is the only thing. So now if you are using this on a different computer, you see where it says here, chainlink assembly.zip. So you would need to download this, right? You click on it. It's going to download it. I'll download it to my desktop. But then you can't, well, you could open it here, but obviously you don't need to, because you need to send it off to whatever computer you happen to be working on. So here's the folder here. So you would need to email it to yourself, or if you're on, put it up to OneDrive or whatever. Just make sure that you have a plan for moving the zipped folder from one computer to the other. Please, please, please remember to unzip your folder. Right, so extract the parts, because the parts are all in a compressed format. So make sure you uncompress them so that you have the parts in their uncompressed format. And let me go back here to my testing client. And then you go ahead and choose some answer here. And then again, it asks you to make the changes. And notice what it's doing, right? It shows you the location of the coordinate system. So normally, if you bring in kind of the obvious part, or actually, do they actually tell you? Download the attached file, import and create the assembly with respect to the origin as shown in the isometric view. Create the assembly using the following conditions. Pins are mated concentric to the chain link holes, no clearance. Pin end faces are coincident with the chain link side faces. All right, so if you bring this part in first, right, this is the part that is telling you where the origin is, you would find that the origin of this part is coincident with the origin of the assembly. So if it shows you something like this and it shows you where the origin is, if you bring the part in that, so again, your question might be, well, which part am I bringing in? Just double check that the part you brought in, the point that its origin is coincident with the assembly origin. Or if that's not the case, you need to put in an origin, and I'll go through that today as well. Sorry, excuse me again. And then you can always go back to your different questions. You can always go to your show summary. So I've answered these, I haven't answered these. If you want to go back and check something, you can just double click on it. It'll bring you back there. And so here's the modification again. And we go to the next question. It's going to tell me that I'm about to end the exam. And we go end the examination. So it's telling me there's 3 questions. I said yes. And test. Actually, I don't want to. Let me say no. Let me go. I'm just going to go back to this question. All right, so now what I'm going to do here and see if it works for me right now, I am going to go ahead and kill this, so like it crashes on me or it freezes up and I have to end the task. Okay, so that's going to be really, really distressing to you if you're 2/3 of the way through the exam and something like that happens. So if you go ahead and open up your Tester Pro client again, and it will tell you to continue the recovered exam, please enter your password. So you go ahead and re-enter your password, which I think, memory serves, I don't think it stops it. No, okay. So, oh, maybe it did. Looks like it stopped it, right? So, but please don't, don't use it to go take a break halfway through the exam, because I don't know how long it will pause the exam, right? I mean, I've never tried that. So pay your money, take your chances kind of thing, if that's the case.
So that
Yeah,
one
I don't know.
has,
Someone just said it. How much time do we have? How much time do we have to resume the exam if it crashes? I don't know. You should just go ahead and do it right away.